Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 95 of Crunch Time. I'm going to be your host for today's episode. I am Tanner Dislin. I am joined, as always, by Sam Gotze, and we are the N326 duo, if I can speak. It has been a minute. We did not put out an episode last week. A new format we're going to do now during the summer with not a lot of sports going on. To keep everything fresh and make sure we have enough content and we don't exhaust some of our options. We're going to put out an episode once every 2 weeks for you guys. So coming out with a new one today. We do have a good show. A lot has happened in the NBA between a draft, some trades going down, so we will recap that, give our thoughts. And then, of course, we have a Mount Rushmore, I believe our second? Is that only our second? Our second of the Mount Rushmore season, so be sure to stay tuned for that. But Sam, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. We've officially entered baseball season. More specifically, the MLB season. College World Series wrapped up, NBA draft. We still got a lingering free agency, but it's officially baseball season.
You know what we're almost to, though? We're almost to football is back season.
This is true.
But like it's not football season, but football is back season.
Yeah.
That when OTAs start happening and everything, I was like, oh, football is back. Football is back. We're almost there. So soon enough, football is back season, and then football season where the sports world start to pick up again.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we'll start the episode as we always do. Sam, who's your winner?
Yeah, there were a lot of good options. We could go with someone killing it, De La Cruz.
Ellie De La Cruz.
De La Cruz has been killing
Cycle for the Reds.
But my winner is sports documentary fans. So you and I both watched The Untold on Netflix.
They're
Great sport documentary. If you haven't seen them, go check out the ones out now. But this Untold Season 3 might be the best they've ever come out with. There's going to be 4 different stories with one series. So the first one that's going to drop is Jake Paul, the problem child, and his rise into his boxing career and all the drama surrounding that. Then Johnny Football, the story of Johnny Manziel. And then one called Hall of Shame, which is about Victor Conte and his name involved with the doping scandals with top athletes such as Barry Bonds, Marion Jones, and Tim Montgomery. So that I really haven't read a whole lot into that situation.
We might learn something.
So we might learn that. And then the one everyone's looking forward to, it's been talked about at length about that. When is this documentary getting made? And that, of course, is Swamp King's Urban Meyer's Florida Gators. So that is going to be freaking awesome, and it's going to be a 4-part series. Kind of like
long one, huh?
Yeah, kind of like the Monte Teo one with the girlfriend that never existed. But yeah, all 4 of those are going to be ones I'm tuning in for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Real quick, though. I mean, we've watched a bunch of them, and I'm sure you guys are listening. Like we said, you should check them out, too. But what's your favorite one we've seen?
They're all really, really freaking good. There's an obvious one, but I think I'm going to go on one that's a little slept on. I can't recall the name of it, but it's about the Dansville Thrashers. This 18-year-old takes over this minor league hockey team and is basically like, screw the rules. They were like super physical, just like penalty boxes. And
Sure.
So, and somehow it's tied in with mob affiliation.
Oh.
So it's a really unique story, But what's yours, man?
I tell you what, that's one I hadn't seen before. I didn't even
good.
know that one existed. I mean, there were a lot of great ones, as you said. I think my personal favorite is the Malice at the Palace.
I had a feeling you were going to say that one.
Like that is just such an interesting situation, something we've never seen in sports and will never see again in sports. Another great one, I think my second one would be the Tim Donaghy, referee.
Yep, that's a good one.
The referee who bet on games and was giving out picks. That's a great one.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Redeem Team, a good one as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The one I'm talking about is actually about the Danbury Thrashers, Crimes and Penalties, so check that one out for sure.
Penalties. Absolutely. And they're all on Netflix, right?
All Netflix.
All on Netflix.
So you might have to get your own account now, but
Depends
it's
if
tough.
You've been cracked down by Netflix, but yeah. For my winner, I am going to go Football Guys as the winner of the episode because I tell you what, I'm not going to lie, I've watched this video so many times over the past few days. Sam, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a video of some guys celebrating celebrating a gender reveal, and him and his pregnant wife. They see it's going to be a boy, and everybody's excited. They're all cheering, and my guy decided the way he was going to show his happiness and his celebration was he just broke down into pass protection. He dropped down.
It was crazy.
He dropped down in a pivot-point stance, got his hands up, fell back.
It was lit.
It is such an awesome video. Just guys being dudes, a pure football guy. In his moment of celebration, he's practicing those pass protections.
Yeah.
Man. Gotta love it. That is so funny. If you haven't seen it, you gotta check it out. Absolutely hilarious.
Yeah,
Just guys
it's
being
hilarious.
dudes. I love it. I absolutely love it. Switching onto the loser side of things, Sam. Who you got?
Yeah, man. We're going to go to Diamond here, and it is competitive games in the College World Series finals. Now, it was against, let's be honest, the SEC ran this shit. I mean, it was LSU versus Florida. Game one was a competitive one, so everyone thought that was going to be the case for the next couple games, but boy, were we wrong. LSU took the first one 4-3.
In extra innings, too, right?
In extra innings.
Yeah, great game.
And, like, the LSU pitcher pitched, like, 120-some pitches. It was super fun to watch. And then it went downhill from there. Next game, Florida decided to wake up. They won 24-4. 24-4.
It's a good turnaround.
Yeah, not bad. Well, that turnaround ended very abruptly in Game 3 as LSU won the College World Series with a score of 18-4, winning the series. So a lot of competitive baseball in the college realm of things.
After a 4-3 extra innings, real close game, the next one, the winning team outscored the losing team by a combined, if my math was 24-4 and 42-8.
Yeah.
42-8.
Yeah.
That's not great.
Yeah, not great.
That is not great, and that's a little bit of a disappointing end to a great College World
Series.
Series.
Yeah, it was fun.
I mean, LSU deserved it, but from a spectator standpoint,
you want to see a little more competitiveness.
Sure would. I mean, it did go 3 games, so at least we got a winner take all game 3.
There you go.
But yeah, for my loser, we're going to stay on the diamond, but we're going to go up to the MLB, or who used to be in the MLB. I'm going to go with Alek Manoah, Sam.
Yeah.
Now, any baseball fan surely has been following the story of Alek Manoah. Last year, in 2022, he posted a 2.24 ERA, went 16-7 in almost 200 innings pitched, only let up 15 home runs 16 home runs all year long, 49 earned runs. Remember those.
Okay.
196 and 2/3, so basically 200 innings.
Yeah.
16 home runs, 49 earned runs to a 2.24 ERA. He was third in the American Cy Young voting. He had an absolutely stellar season. Looked like he was a star in the making.
Yeah.
This year, he's a pretty sharp pick for American League Cy Young. This year, he's got just another year of being in the big leagues, relatively young guy, he's 25 years old. Another year in the big leagues, more experience. Surely he's going to have a great season this year. Well, he started out this season in his 8 starts. He went 1-7.
Tough.
Or he actually started 13 games, but he went 1-7 in that 13.
Nice.
To a 6.36 ERA.
Nice.
Remember those numbers I told you to remember? Yeah, so he threw 58 innings in the MLB this year. 58 compared to almost 200. Last year he let up 16 home runs and 200. This year 11 home runs and 58 innings.
Jeez.
And last year 49 earned runs and almost 200 innings pitched. This year 41 home runs in 58 innings pitched.
Yikes.
He has been an absolute disaster this year. Again, 1-7 to a 6.36 ERA.
Yeah.
So the Blue Jays, again, 25 years old, showed a lot of promise the past few years, and even his rookie year in 2021 pitched to a 3.22. So he showed a lot of promise in the past 2 years. So they're like, you know what? Let's send him down. He needs to get right.
Yeah.
So that's what the Blue Jays do. They send him down, Sam. No, they don't send him down to AAA. They send him down to Rookie League. It's the Florida Complex League. Mm-hmm. Rookie League. And his first start in the Rookie League, he goes 2 2/3, gives up 10 hits, 11 earned, 3 Ks, 2 walks.
Yikes. Tough.
Rookie League.
Tough.
So I really don't know what's going on with Alek Manoah. But this will be a big disappointment if he just kind of fizzles out and forgets how to play baseball.
Yeah.
Because, again, third in the Cy Young voting last year, and he has just completely fallen off.
Yeah. It definitely sounds like that.
Sucks.
Crazy.
I don't
He
know.
sucks, it sounds like.
He sucks, yeah. I mean, can he just not deal with the pitch clock?
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know what else changed. But, yeah, really, really interesting stuff coming out of Toronto. And next, we will hop right into the NBA draft that happened last Thursday. And just jump right into the top 10 picks while we're here. So, number 1, as we all expect, Spurs draft Victor Wembanyama. Is there any hype around this guy? Is he good?
Just a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. Then the Hornets at 2 draft Brandon Miller, an interesting pick. Number 3, the Blazers go for Scoot Henderson. At 4, the Rockets draft Amon Thompson. At 5, the Pistons draft Oscar Thompson. At 6, the Magic take Anthony Black. At 7, the Pacers take Bilal Coulibaly. At 8, the Wizards take Jarris Walker. At 9, the Jazz take Taylor Hendricks. And then at 10, the Mavericks take Carson Wallace. Some of those... Cason Wallace.
Yeah.
Sorry. Some of those... Coulibaly traded from the Pacers to the Wizards. Jarris Walker traded from the Wizards to the Pacers. And then Cason Wallace traded from the Mavericks to the Thunder. So... Sam, anything stand out to you inside this top 10?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing coming into this draft was who's going at 2, because Victor was the number 1 consensus pick. It didn't matter who was the team to get that 1 pick. Victor Wembanyama was going to be that one.
Let's just put it this way. I don't know if you saw... PFT commenter, very famous on Part of My Take. He tweeted his bet ticket. He bet Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah.
I think he bet $14,000 that Wembanyama was going to go first.
Yeah.
You know what he won?
Like $60?
I think he won like $120. Yeah.
That's crazy. But I think the Hornets made the right pick. I don't think Scoot would have been a good fit with the Hornets. But kind of the guy, I like this top 6 a lot. I think they're going to be able to. All of them are going to be able to make a impact as soon as they get going.
Yeah, the Brandon Miller pick is interesting because I do think Scoot Henderson was a better prospect. But as you said, the Hornets
is fit over. Yeah,
fit over just quality of player. They are in desperate need of any sort of forward. We all know what happened with Miles Bridges. I know was it P.J. Washington was a project that they had tried to develop. And then Gordon Hayward making a gazillion dollars. Yeah, they desperately needed.
Is Oubre still on a ridiculous contract?
He might be. I honestly don't know.
So.
Yeah, they needed a young, talented forward.
For sure.
That's definitely what Brandon Miller brings. And Blazers taking Scoot. What does that mean for Dame?
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. The trade rumors are surrounding, but today we get the report that they still want to build around him.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows what's going on. But for me, inside this top 10, the big standout, other than who went number 2, is pick number 1, pick number 3, pick number 4, 5, and pick number 7. That is 5 out of 10. Half of the picks are not from college.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you always have a few international prospects that come in, and they usually make up the lot of those drafted not from college.
Yeah.
But number 3, 4, 5, 3 picks in the top 5 were American players who did not go through college.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're starting to see this shift in the NBA. It'll be interesting, to be honest with you, Tanner, if they don't go back on, you have to be a one and done with the way the Thompson twins. I watched a lot of this overtime league this year, and they are good as anyone in this draft. I mean, Rockets got a dog in Amen Thompson, adding to that impressive young guard room. Oscar Thompson is a defensive lockdown defender for the Pistons. So those two guys are phenomenal. We've seen guys from the G League Ignite kind of have an immediate impact coming into the NBA, and I really don't think Scoot Henderson's going to be all that different. I mean, Jalen Green, Isaiah Todd, Jonathan Kuminga, all these guys came from that G League Ignite. Dyson Daniels is another one. This G League Ignite is just another avenue, and I think it's just going to become more and more common, especially not only American players, but I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing foreign players like Victor Wembanyama or Balak Coulibaly coming over and participating in that G League Ignite team, and maybe even Overtime Elite.
Yeah, it's been, like you said, it's been a trend. I wonder if the semi-new NIL stuff is going to
combat that
a little bit, and some guys will still decide to go to college knowing you can make a little bit of coin off your name, image, and likeness. But yeah, it's just totally interesting to see that whole other avenue open up, and it seems to look like a lot of top-tier talent is taking that route. Anything else stand out to you maybe in the second round or in the latter half of the first round? Anybody you think might be a steal, or anything you were looking at from how that all shook out?
I think there's a lot of talent coming in this later draft. I think one guy that a lot of people are talking about is that Cam Whitmore pick at 20 at the beginning of the year, and honestly all through college, the college season, he was projected to be a lottery pick. It's interesting that news came out that he had character issues, not very driven, yet at number 2, we had a guy who was being investigated for murder. So is that really why? I don't know. But, I mean, pairing him up with Amen Thompson, this Rockets team, I think, got the steal of draft with Cam Whitmore at 20 for sure.
Already a team that's got a lot of young talent, a lot of cap space, looking to add possibly a bona fide star. Can see a drastically different Houston team next year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure.
Of course, we got to shout out Chris Murray, our own Iowa Hawkeye, getting drafted 23 to the Blazers. So he and Scoot will be playing together up in Portland. And, I mean, that's 2 straight first-rounders, both, of course, being
Yeah.
the Murray twins, but 2 straight first-rounders for Iowa, so that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah, and I mean that's kind of it for the draft. I guess a name I'm looking at that I think got put in a good situation is Jaime Jaquez Jr.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean watching him in college, that UCLA run that they had to the championship game, he was great. Just a great ISO ball in hand scorer, great knockdown shooter. Seems like the Heat do real well with those type of players in that Heat culture. So that could be a guy that in maybe 2 or 3 years we're like, where the hell did he come from? And he's contributing real minutes, important minutes for the Heat.
Yeah.
But other than that, unless you got any other final thoughts
on
the draft?
I know at 6 with the Magic, it was kind of questionable taking Anthony Black. I mean, the Magic story is how many guards can they have?
Sure.
But I think Anthony Black's what, 6'6", 6'7", and he's not a scorer first guard. He is a facilitator. He plays good defense, and I think he's going to fit perfectly with this Magic team. I mean, they got a young core with Jalen Suggs, Paulo Banchero, Markelle Fultz kind of coming out of the woodworks, finally putting his NBA career together. But I really like that pick. And
Wagner, what's his name?
Franz Wagner.
Yep. I was going to say, it's not Hans, it's something like that, though.
A knockdown shooter.
Yeah, Franz had a very surprising one.
I think he's going to be a perfect fit. But I think, hands down, the Rockets won this draft. Obviously, the Spurs really won the true draft, but outside of Spurs, I think the Rockets really won this one.
Got it. Noted. Absolutely. That kind of puts a bow on things for this draft. Let us know what you guys thought. We always want to know who was your steal of the draft. Who do you think came out on top? Maybe someone in the later round or the second half of the first round who you're looking at to make an immediate impact. But of course, as with how the NBA rolls, it was not just the draft that was making headlines. There were a few trades that went down over the past few days. Starting off with probably the biggest, one of the two superstars stuck in their loyalty ways is Bradley Beal. For as long as we can remember, his talent was being wasted in D.C. as they could not.
But he was getting bagged, though.
He was getting a bag. So what the Wizards did, they actually traded Bradley Beal over the past few days. Traded him to none other than the Phoenix Suns.
Of course.
So the full package on this deal, the Suns got Bradley Beal, Isaiah Todd, and Jordan Goodwin. And the Washington Wizards got the Suns 2024, 25, 26, 27, 28, and 30 second-round picks. They've got 24, 26, 28, and 30 first-round pick swaps. Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, and cash.
Yeah. This one, is it crazy to think I thought the Suns lost this trade?
Yeah.
I know we've talked in the past. It's hard to say, right, without them playing. But records show that let's just look at the teams that made very far runs in the playoffs recently. We got the Heat, who had probably one of the best benches. The Nuggets, who 2 bench players played phenomenal. 3 that I can name off the top of my head. Then we got the Bucks had a deep team. The Warriors back in the day had deep play. So
Celtics,
even
the Suns 2 years ago.
Yeah, that makes me wonder, is it worth bringing in another superstar, getting rid of some Landry Shamet, who is a decent bench player, and basically putting all your eggs in 3 players.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, player-wise, because I don't think a lot of Suns fans were happy with Landry Shamet. I don't think he was playing all that well as a Phoenix Sun. So obviously, player-wise, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Even trade comp-wise, pick-wise, pick swaps-wise, it totally makes sense. The problem is the cap space that is taken up now by Bradley Beal and not given to depth pieces.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And I don't know if there's a subsequent plan to try and flip maybe like DeAndre Ayton, which they said they're not.
It's
right?
funny you bring that up. The Suns and the Mavericks actually were in talks during the NBA draft to send DeAndre Ayton to Dallas in return for Tim Hardaway Jr., Rashawn Holmes, and JaVale McGee. So 3 solid bench players. But the Suns were hesitant when it involved JaVale McGee.
Oh, my God. Oh, man.
So they were trying.
Yeah. I mean, first, let's just call it. This team is going to be very good, right?
Oh,
this
for
is going
sure.
to be very good. And the team probably got better with this trade.
Definitely.
And I think if you're Phoenix, you definitely do this trade. However, after it, you take a step back and you seriously address the depth issues.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we saw how they did last year when they played the most complete team in the NBA, and they got taken down in 6. Now, I mean, they put up the best fight against the Nuggets. So maybe another superstar will do it. But I mean, we'll say as far as big threes go, one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it's going to be interesting to see what the Suns can put on the court.
Yeah. And another thing about this trade is how are these 3 players going to fit?
Right.
I think Bradley Beal and Devin Booker have very, very similar styles of play. So that is just another question.
The Emmanuel Acho clip that if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. He does a great clip when talking about these 3 players, and he calls has 3 Snickers bars. He calls Kevin Durant the king size Snickers, Devin Booker the regular size Snickers, and Bradley Beal the snack size or the fun size, and basically says they're all fantastic. I love all of these, but they're all the same thing.
Yeah.
They're just different versions of the same thing. And not quite sure how well that works together, as you said. A lot of mid-range, a lot of drive to the hoop. It definitely will be interesting, that's for sure. Seemingly, in an age where it seemed like the super team was dying, Phoenix is just going right for it. Or should I say, is it Phoenix or is it Kevin Durant?
Yeah.
May or may not have a track record of doing that. But this trade led to another trade. One of the names moved in the Bradley Beal trade, Chris Paul. Of course, it was rumored that the Suns were going to release him. They included him in that trade. He went to the Wizards. And then the Wizards turned around and flipped Chris Paul to the Warriors.
Yeah.
That's right. You heard that correctly. He was flipped to the Warriors, and the Wizards got back Jordan Poole, Patrick Baldwin, Ryan Rollins, a 2030 protected first rounder, and a 2027 second rounder.
Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, we all know the Chris Paul, Steph Curry beef, Steve Kerr and Chris Paul beef, Chris Paul and just the Warriors in general beef. So I kind of like the pickup for the Warriors. I mean, Steph Curry off ball is one of the greatest players. So I kind of like the fit. It's very obvious the Wizards are in let's tank and get as many picks and young talent we can.
There you go. it's just an absolute, to me, a win-win. Like you said, the Warriors, who are 100% win now, get someone where Curry can play off ball. He can do his whole move without the ball style of offense. And then, like you said, Wizards bring back Jordan Poole, who has shown that when he's not getting punched in the face, he can really score the basketball at the NBA level, right? And a team where he doesn't really have to appeal to the likes of Steph Curry or Klay Thompson in terms of share of shots. He can just kind of take them all. Mm-hmm. So, to me, it seemed like a really good job by the Wizards to flip Chris Paul for some meaningful assets, and then 2 picks in there as well.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what the protection is on the Warriors 2030 pick, but I don't think Steph will be retired in 2030.
No.
So I think they'll be pretty good.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance that will, in fact, get transferred over to the Wizards.
Yeah.
And then the last big trade that went down, kind of, it hit a little bit of a bump in the road, right? It was going to happen, then it wasn't going to happen. But we did, in fact, get a 3-team trade between the Celtics, Grizzlies, and Wizards. Yeah. Wizards are very active.
Wizards are active this offseason, baby.
So the Celtics got Kristaps Porzingis, the number 25 overall pick in this year's draft, and a 2024 first rounder. The Grizzlies received Marcus Smart. The Wizards received this year's number 35 overall pick, Tyus Jones, Danilo Gallinari, and Mike Muscala.
Yeah, lot of movement for the Wizards, like you said. I don't see where Kristaps really fits within this Celtics team. Don't get me wrong, he's a solid player, but it's just kind of a weird pickup, honestly. I mean, I don't really know what to think about this, to be honest. I think the Grizzlies got dog.
Yeah,
I think that was a great pickup. Kind of. I think it's safe to assume they're not going to bring back Dylan Brooks, and I think
under no circumstances.
I think Marcus Smart's a great pickup. Tyus Jones, don't get me wrong, great backup, but Marcus Smart's a dog, and I think that's going to be a huge Marcus Smart and Steven Adams. Yikes. That's a team I don't want to mess with. Yeah. I'm not going to lie with you.
I wouldn't want to either, man. Yeah, so I agree that the Celtics, and I do think Kristaps was the best player moved in this trade, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard for the Celtics not to come out of this up, on top.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
But it's still, I totally agree. It's like, really? Are they just fed up with Robert Williams, who's always injured, and think of him more of off the bench piece, and you can start Kristaps, bring some shooting, and average out. You can move back down to that power forward. I know they were playing a lot of small ball with him at their 5, but maybe that's what they see. Kristaps had a great season last year, underrated season. He was playing in Washington. Not a lot of people picked up on how good he was. But he had a great season last year, so. The health concerns are always an issue. If that was their problem with Robert Williams, I'm not sure Kristaps
is the answer.
Any better. He was relatively healthy last year, though, so maybe you can build on that. Marcus Smart, an absolute perfect fit in that Grizzlies system. Yeah. He'll bring grit, tenacity, defense, of course, and a little bit of shooting. He can shoot when kind of a catch and shoot kind of guy, not really a shot creator. Yeah. And then I like it for the Wizards because I think Tyus Jones is a good basketball. He's a good basketball player, and I think if you pair him with Jordan Poole, again, you're on the younger side. These guys can kind of grow into their own ways. There's also no pressure to win now, so you can kind of see if they don't pan out, no worries.
Yeah.
You can move on. I do like it for them as well, and they picked up a second rounder this year, early second rounder at 35. And then getting Gallinari, someone they could possibly then flip as well. I think the Wizards did well here too. So, I think most teams ended up well. I'm just a little confused at the fit for the Celtics, which is something you also mentioned.
Yeah, definitely. A little strange, but I think, again, a pretty solid trade all around.
It's going to be weird to see Kristaps in a Celtics jersey. That's going to be really weird.
Well, it probably won't be for long because God knows he's going to get hurt at some point.
Sorry, it's going to be not weird at all seeing Kristaps in a suit on the sidelines.
This is true.
Sitting in between two players like his 7'4", sitting like this. Just, yeah, totally. But I think that's going to wrap it up for our NBA talk. You got any more on the association?
Not really, man. A lot of weird pieces. This free agency is going to be a little weird. A lot of players still deciding if they're going to enter free agency or not. I mean, we still have the whole Damian Lillard thing. Is he actually going to leave Portland? Probably not, but there's always an option. And then James Harden as well. So it's going to be interesting. We'll definitely be filling people in. But, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the next step in the NBA offseason for sure.
Yeah, I think we may have a little bit of silence from the association until that free agency starts. And when you all know when that free agency starts, it will be loud as can be. We'll have plenty to talk about, and we certainly will cover that when it all goes down. So stay tuned for more coverage. But I think it is time to hop into another Mount Rushmore. This is our second of the season. Our first one was Mount Rushmore of non-sport what-ifs.
Great epi.
I think that one was pretty good. This time we are going to do the Mount Rushmore of failures. That's it. Take that however you want to.
I'm excited.
Mount Rushmore of failures. Tell you what you can't put is the 2023 Milwaukee Bucks. Sorry,
this is true.
If it's on your list, it's wrong.
This is true.
Giannis told you wrong. But since I'm today's host, I came up with the prop. I think you should start.
Okay.
You should start and get us your 1-1. In the Mount Rushmore of failures.
I like my list, Hannah. I like it a lot. I think I'm gonna go with this one with my 1-1 on Mount Rushmore of failures. Iowa football offensive production under Brian Ferentz. Bang!
That wasn't on my list.
I thought for sure that was going to be on your list.
That is great.
Wow. I thought for sure that was going to be on your list.
That is a great one. Yeah, we all know. I mean, we all know that. We all know that.
We all know our feelings about that.
We don't need to go down that road. We will in probably about 2 months or so when the season starts. But, ooh, man.
Yep.
That's tough. That's a great one.
Thank you.
That is really,
really
good. Was that the first one that came to mind?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? I just completely blanked that from my mind. That's great. That's great. All right. With my 1-1, I think I'm going to go with Firefest.
Damn it!
I'm going to go with
Firefest. Nice. Great pick, man.
Yes. There has been 2 different documentaries.
That's a good-ass pick.
There have been 2 different documentaries about this. If you haven't heard about it, not sure what rock you're living under, but
that's a great pick.
Bunch of people came together to put together a music festival that was supposed to be the most exotic, most elegant music festival that ever was, and mistake after mistake after mistake led to the 5-star villas with a private chef end up being like hurricane relief tents.
Yep.
And
wet beds and soggy
beds,
cheese sandwiches.
Processed cheese sandwiches that were soggy, and just like lettuce for a side salad. Like it was really, really bad. That clip that went viral when they couldn't get water.
Yeah.
And it was
viral.
Yeah.
That's a great pick, man.
Yeah, so
that might be our first stolen.
It's been,
I think it might be.
We're usually not. Yeah, we usually go different ways on this one.
Yeah.
Firefest for me was what immediately came to my mind.
That's a good one.
So, and then with my 1-2, I'm going to go something that everybody witnessed all at the same time. The Challenger is my number 2 pick. there are tons of different ways you can go with the kind of disaster route. But for me, the Challenger, like hearing from my parents that everybody was watching it, and then the explosion and everyone's silence, just like we watched a bunch of people just explode in the air. Kind of crazy, and probably should have been confirmed to be a little bit safer before we ended up doing that and broadcasting on live TV. Yep. So I'm gonna take that as my second, just a giant failure.
That's a good one. With my number 2, I'm gonna go cancel culture with Morgan Wallen.
They try. All you gotta do, the way to beat cancel culture is to make bangers.
As I'm sure all of you know, a video got leaked about Morgan Wallen saying some not great things, and everyone was calling for his cancel Morgan Wallen, and this dude has skyrocketed in popularity. He has a top 5 on Billboard right now. I think he dropped that album around that time, and the sales went up like 26,000% or 2,600%. So cancel culture was a big failure on Morgan Wallen. So that is my number 2. My number 3, this is going to be a little throwback. And it's going to be Michelle Obama going healthy with school lunches.
Michelle Obama, you suck. Oh, that just made me angry.
Yeah.
God.
So, early 2010s, late 2000s, Michelle Obama launched this initiative to have healthier school lunches. I don't know about your high school, but there were no more candy vending machines. There's very limited soda. And
limited, try none in my high school.
I think there was maybe Sprite, maybe at mine. And then she tried to push this healthy school lunches, didn't really work. To be honest, I still had burgers and pizza.
Oh, were you private high school?
I was private.
That might have been something with public high schools. And but my high school, my God, dude, we used to have chicken nugget Mondays, and I'd have my daily Snapple, and it was all good. It's ice cream we had. It was great. And then here comes Michelle frickin' Obama, and nuggets go bye-bye. The Snapple, we have to have diet Snapple now. Just an absolute gut wrench.
That's the worst.
Ice cream, gone. However, towards the end of my senior, they did come back with frozen yogurt, which
there you go, solid.
Which good. But for the longest time, ice cream gone, chicken nugget Mondays gone. Pizza, whole wheat crust.
Yep. Okay, my high school did do
burgers,
in middle school. Yep.
Whole wheat buns, whole wheat wraps.
Yep.
Bruh,
more veggies and fruits.
Yeah, get the hell out of here. Every meal came with green beans. Ooh. School green beans, baby.
Yeah, we're sitting in a pool of green bean juice that we didn't know happened.
Know what to do.
Yeah.
God, that is...
Or some corn in a pile of corn juice. Yep. Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
So that's my number 3, man.
I like that pick. I like the pick a lot. With my number 3... I think I'm going to go quite literally a failure. I'm going to go with the Lehman Brothers.
Nice.
Lehman Brothers investment bank. The investment bank that went bankrupt, filed for bankruptcy, and failed. And that spearheaded the 2008 financial crisis. Yep. Was the fall of the Lehman Brothers. So I think that's a pretty important failure.
That's a good one.
And, it instituted the whole too big to fail principle. And... pretty important failure. And then, lastly, I still think this is absolutely hilarious. With my number 4, I'm going to go with New Coke. Have you heard this?
No.
That, I think it was in, 86, the Coca-Cola decided to mess with their recipe for Coke.
Okay.
They made a new Coke that was more similar to the recipe of Diet Coke. And so they came out with this whole thing, like, better taste, new Coke.
Yeah.
It lasted 77 days before the people rioted to get back their original recipe Coke. Sure enough, that they pretty much immediately reinstated their original recipe Coke. And yeah, that was that. Then, using the original recipe Coke, they ended up coming with Coke Zero, which I don't know if you knew that the difference between Coke Zero and Diet Coke is that Coke Zero is closer to is it like a different recipe, while Coke Zero is a lot closer to the recipe of Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Diet Coke is a different recipe that they tried to replicate in with natural sugar or with real sugar in the new Coke, and again a whole new launch for one of the world's biggest brands, and it lasted 77 days before the world rioted and eventually got them to switch it back. So I'd say that was a pretty big failure.
That's a good one. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. All right, my number 4. A lot of good ones. Which one do I go with? I think I'm going to go with my number 4. I'm going to go with Flint, Michigan's clear water supply.
Jeez. Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty big failure. Wow, did not expect that. I'm going to be honest with you. That's really funny, though. I like that a lot. They didn't have clean water.
It failed.
It failed big time. It failed
so,
big time.
For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, unfortunately, it's still going on, which is pretty sad. But this began all in 2014 when the city of Flint, Michigan, switched its drinking water supply from Detroit system to the Flint River in a cost-saving move. But that led to inadequate treatment and testing of the water, which resulted in this major water quality and health issues for Flint residents that were chronically ignored, overlooked, discounted by government officials. So yeah, Flint, Michigan, taking fat L's.
Not great. Not great. I feel like clean water might
be
be important. Is that? Do you need that? I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah. So I mean, before we head into our honorable mentions, why don't we run down our Mount Rushmores again real quick?
Yeah. Number 1, I had Iowa football's offensive production under Brian Ferentz. Number 2, I had cancel culture with Morgan Wallen. Number 3, I had Michelle Obama going healthy with school lunches. And then number 4, I had Flint, Michigan's clear water supply.
That's great stuff. For mine, my first pick, Firefest. My second pick, The Challenger. My third pick, Lehman Brothers Investment Bank. And then my fourth pick, New Coke. That lasted 77 days. Got any honorable mentions you'd like to throw out there?
Man,
I know
this was a lot.
A lot to talk about. A lot of failures, believe it or not.
A lot of failures. I got a lot. I think Tommen Baratheon's reign in Game of Thrones is
very forgettable.
Very forgettable, but a big failure.
Yeah, I'd say so. Bro decided it was time to walk out a window.
Yeah.
So I got one here. I remember talking about this in history class one day and like never talked about it again. Are you familiar with the Battle of Karen Sevis?
No, I don't
So this was a, I don't even know what war it was part of, but I think it was Austria versus Turkey at some point. Those two were fighting, and there were two different cavalries, I guess. There were two different groups of Austrian troops that were scouting out and setting up camp in a specific spot, and they split up. And one of the groups ran into, I don't know if it was they ran into some people and found themselves with some alcohol, like some ale and some whiskey, and they decided, you know what, we set up camp, let's have some. And they were drinking it, and some other people within that cavalry were like, hey, man, where'd you get the alcohol? Like, give us some. And they were like, no, we're not going to give you some. So they started pushing and shoving, and it got physical, and they were fighting over this alcohol, and someone actually fired a shot.
Oh.
Well, there was a whole other cavalry that thought the Turks had attacked their other cavalry, so they came in and attacked. So it was a giant battle of everyone on the same side.
Yikes.
Everyone on the same side. They fought each other, and you know, when you're moving troops, you usually do that at night. It was dark. They couldn't see, and by the time they figured it all out, their army was decimated, and the Turks did eventually attack, and believe it or not, they won pretty freaking easily against an absolutely decimated decimated Austrian side. So I mean, a full battle that is literally one side just fighting itself is absolutely hysterical.
Yeah,
big time failure.
That is definitely a big time failure for sure. Another honorable mention for me is how the NBA handled the Chris Paul trade to the Los Angeles Lakers. For those of you who don't know, this would have been early 2010s before, I believe it was before Chris Paul went to Clippers, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So Chris Paul and Dwight Howard were going to team up with Kobe in LA and create what was at the time the ultimate super team. Like those three players were.
Yeah, because I think that was after the Miami had formed, so it was the one in the East and the one in the West.
And I don't really know why. I don't remember.
I actually think I do remember at that point the Charlotte Hornets. And like Jordan hadn't bought him yet.
Okay.
So they were like a league-owned team.
Oh, yeah.
So they had a GM that was making this move, but then the league needed to approve it because they were a league-owned team.
Gotcha.
And the league didn't.
Yeah, that's wild.
And that's what makes it crazier is that obviously what could have been with that big three, but then where he ended up going was still to LA, just to the Clippers.
Yeah.
And that must have been a little extra salt in the wound for some Lakers fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was handled quite poorly. I think a big failure, JFK security team.
Yeah.
Like, gotta be better than
that.
Yeah,
That's tough.
You gotta be better than that.
Oh my god.
Like, you got one job. You just gotta be better than that.
You gotta be better.
You have to.
That's good. That's really good.
Thank you.
You got more?
Yeah, I do have a few more. I don't know about.
I got a couple more. I think my last official honorable mentions will run through the rest. Kim Kardashian and Chris Humphrey's 10-day marriage.
That was electric, dude.
I don't even remember what year it was. But literally they were married for like 10 days max.
Yeah, I think it was before the Brooklyn Nets, right? Because he was still a New Jersey Net at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I did watch a few
My
of those.
My bad. 72 days.
Oh!
Yeah.
Year! Successful marriage! They were together forever. Oh, man.
That's funny.
Oh, man.
Yeah, 72 days.
That's crazy. Yeah,
tough.
that's a failure. I would say that's a failed marriage. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
Another honorable mention for me, the Articles of Confederation.
Yeah.
The U.S.'s first government form.
Yeah.
Did not work.
Did not
work.
Did not work
Loose,
at all.
weak central government. They didn't have any. They didn't have unified currency. Each state had their own money.
Yeah.
It was just a disaster.
Yeah.
An absolute disaster. So, yeah, failure. Failure of government.
Good.
Failure of government. You got any others that you want to run through real quick before we end the episode?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the worst sequel movies of all time should be on this list. And, of course, I'm talking about Cars 2, because that shit was trash. Ultimate failure by Pixar. Fumble. Absolute fumble.
I just love one is, I gotta embrace this town that I stumbled into and my friends. And the other one is, man, am I getting too old for racing? But I love doing it. And someone who never got to race. And then in the middle, there's just this spy thriller where they try and save cars from blowing up from this double agent. What?
Yeah.
How did that come in between two just wholesome thematic movies of friendship and finding yourself and all that? Very, very strange.
Yeah. Not great.
Yeah, I mean, you want to quickly run through
the
years?
I think some other ones, I mean, there's a lot out there. The How I Met Your Mother ending.
Failure.
One of the worst endings of all time in TV history. Nets Big Three with James Harden, Katie, Kyrie.
Certainly got that one there. Anytime you can throw shade at the Nets, you got to do so.
Absolutely. Let's see. The Bud Light ad with Dylan Mulvaney in 2023.
That didn't work very well.
I mean, what are you thinking?
That didn't work very well.
Who drinks Bud Light? Farmers and football guys.
Yeah.
And it failed.
It did fail. It totally
and
failed.
frat bros. Gotta give love to frat bros.
Frat bros.
And now they're trying to overcorrect it. Have you seen their most recent ad?
Yeah, I have.
It's at a country concert with it's bad.
Yeah,
Honestly, Bud Light in just 2023 could be a giant failure. And we're only in June.
Yeah,
almost
they still
July.
got another half of the year to go.
Yeah, so tough. Yeah, so that's kind of all mine.
Yeah, I like those. I did have some of the disaster routes, again, Titanic. Your one job, you're driving the Titanic, don't hit the big thing of frozen water.
Yep.
Feel like that might be something you can avoid. Chernobyl. You're building a nuclear power plant. I feel like damage control would be a big thing, and
you think, right?
Making sure all your construction and everything was up to snuff, and they didn't.
This is true.
I still to this day can't believe that a very famous empire and city fell because one of their opponents built a giant horse. Seriously. Seriously, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
Troy's defense. I don't really know, but
that's tough.
You got taken out because they were inside of a giant horse dog. Major L. That is such a bad L.
That's good.
Yeah, a couple other. The Great Leap Forward in China. They were under Mao Zedong. They were very agrarian. They had a lot of farms.
Yeah.
So he was no, we need to industrialize. So he put all of their resources into industrializing.
Makes sense.
In producing steel and everything. Yeah. Turns out they didn't make food, and it led to, if not, I think it's still contested on whether it's the largest famine or the second largest behind the Irish potato famine. So the biggest famine happened because China was just let's make steel, and just didn't make food. So, oopsie.
Yeah.
What else do I have here? I mean, Logitech controllers. I mean,
I knew it was coming.
Come on.
I knew it was coming.
We're better than this. Surely we're better than this. At least get the DualShock 4.
Yeah.
At least get the PlayStation controller. Logitech control. Really? Whew. And then lastly, a complete and utter failure, Sam. I don't know if this means anything to you, but Jar Jar Binks. Do you know Jar Jar Binks?
I do know Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, well, have you seen Jar Jar Binks?
I have seen Jar Jar.
Yeah, well, he was created by Star Wars creator George Lucas to be a funny character that kids would like, and that we would laugh at him, and that he would be someone we all love. He is one of the most universally hated characters of all time.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've watched very little Star Wars, and I agree.
He sucks.
He's
Dude,
the worst.
Oh my God, just the way he talks, the tone in which he talks, everything about him is just the absolute worst. And I still cannot believe to this day that he was created with the hopes that he was going to be universally loved as just this funny and silly, and kids would love him. And it turns out he is, in fact, the worst.
Yeah.
Big failure there.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, that was a great.
That was good.
That was a great Mount
That
Rushmore.
might be our best yet.
I think so too. I love when we can go so many different routes with it. I mean, starting off with Iowa offensive production, always a great start. Anytime we can really get something that hits home.
Yeah. And we even had some steals.
We had some steals.
That was pretty lit.
Of course, you got to steal, but. Yeah, I mean, I think our second Mount Rushmore was a success. Yeah. I believe, Sam, we're going to have a poll to see who.
Poll. Make sure you vote. It'll be open 24 to 48 hours. Give y'all time to vote. We're not like Pardon My Take where we have millions of followers, but yeah, I think 24 hours. Would you agree?
Yeah, maybe we can extend it to 48, but yeah, something 48 like that. Hours. Yeah.
So make sure to vote. Let us know.
Let us know who won that Mount Rushmore. A lot of good stuff. But that's going to do it for episode 95. Again, we went through some winners and losers, took a dip in the NBA side of things, looked at the draft, looked at some trades, and then, of course, finished up with the Mount Rushmore of failures. But, Sam, where can they follow us?
Yeah, they can follow me on Twitter at SamGodsey29, Instagram Sam_Godsey21, and then the Crunch Time. We got Crunch Time _pod, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. That's where you'll find most of the content.
Yeah, and also on YouTube, Crunch Time. That's Crunch Time with the N326 Duo, I believe. Go see the video version of this episode. You can follow me at TDizzlin22 on Twitter and Instagram. Again, that poll will be up on our Twitter, I believe, on the Crunch Time Twitter. So make sure you follow. Make sure you do not miss that and vote to see who won this Mount Rushmore. But the clock has run out on this episode, and we'll see you in the next one on Crunch Time.